Dear Red, if you're reading this, you've gotten out. And if you've come this far, maybe you're willing to come a little further. You remember the name of the town, don't you?
Cebateneo.
I could use a good man to help me get my project on wheels. I'll keep an eye out for you, and the chessboard ready. Remember, Red, hope is a good thing, maybe the best of things, and no good thing ever dies. I will be hoping that this letter finds you, and finds you well. Your friend, Andy.
Hello, everyone. This is Chris. And today's topic was inspired by a conversation I recently had with a family. And that conversation was about support for their loved one in getting sober. And even more specific than that, what not to do that is actually unhelpful, but is kind of conventional wisdom. And I thought the best way to get into that is to pull in the incredible Mel Robbins into this conversation because she's done a great podcast on this very topic and even more than that. But her guest is the expert, Dr. Sarah Wakeman. So I want to extract just a little bit of their interview so that we can bring that to the forefront. I encourage everyone to listen to the entire episode because it's chock full of great information. And there's always wonderful insights and practical things that come out of any conversation with Mel. But if you're interested in this topic specifically about alcohol and alcoholism, this is a wonderful episode to go back to and share with other folks. Let's jump in to that one segment when it comes to things not to do in supporting a loved one that are conventional wisdom. So let's jump right in.
Dr. Sarah Wakeman is here, and she is one of the most renowned medical experts in the entire world. She is an associate professor of medicine at Harvard Medical School and the program director of Mass General Addiction Medicine Fellowship. And she squeezed us in to her extraordinarily busy schedule, and she is here today in our studios in Boston to spend time with you. Dr. Wakeman, I'd love to get your counsel on what you would recommend to somebody if your spouse doesn't think they have a drinking problem, but it's a problem for you.
One of the greatest tragedies to me around substance use disorder is often family members and the general public have been fed the wrong thing to do. First, it's important to define sort of what is an alcohol use disorder. And really the definition of an alcohol use disorder is losing control over your drinking, compulsive use of alcohol, and using despite consequences. When it comes to addiction, it really doesn't matter at all why I think someone should make changes to their alcohol use. The only thing that matters is they think their life will get better in some way.
What is the mistake that you see people making?
I think people have heard these notions of like tough love, enabling, hitting bottom. Those are probably the biggest fallacies. So for people who aren't familiar with those concepts, the idea that tough love is that like you really should make things hard on a person, that if sort of consequences pile up, the person will ultimately get better. Mm-hmm. Enabling is the idea that you're kind or caring to someone that you're actually hurting them in some way. And hitting bottom is this idea that people have to just fall so far and suffer some terrible consequence before they make a change. Those are all really problematic concepts for a couple of reasons. So first of all, the definition of alcohol use disorder is not being able to stop despite bad things happening to you. And many people are drinking because it's a powerful coping mechanism. And some of the things that put you at risk for an alcohol use disorder are traumatic life experiences, untreated anxiety and depression, not feeling good about yourself. So having the only people that you sort of love and trust in your life try to cut you down to size and tell you that you're doing something terrible and set some ultimatum is actually not going to help you get well. None of us make hard changes when we feel threatened or sort of punished or not supported. We do it when we feel loved and safe and have hope that our life could be better. And so as a loved one, that's probably the greatest gift you can give to the person. Now, it's complicated because you're impacted by their behavior.
Yes.
So it's very easy as a provider. One of the things I love about doing this work, because I've been on the other side and had family members, and it's a different experience. As a doctor, like whether or not my patient continues to drink doesn't impact me personally. I can just be their partner, their champion, work with them. For families, there are times where the behavior becomes so unsafe that people have to keep themselves safe and set boundaries, and that's okay. I think the the distinction there is that it's not doing it for the person's benefit. So if you kick someone out of your house, it's not going to necessarily help them get better, but there may come a time and a place where people need to do that for their own emotional safety or well-being. But for that human being to help someone get well, and this is where earlier conversations are so important, is to really sort of love and support them and work together on it and make sure they find access to good treatment, which is out there and available.
Welcome back. What a wonderful interview. And again, this is just a very brief extract of a segment from a terrific episode on Mel Robbins interviewing Dr. Sarah Wakeman. And in closing, I'm just reminded that we live in a beautiful time to get sober. We have so many resources, so many great messages, so many great voices, so many wonderful experts in this field, etc. So it is just an absolutely terrific time to get sober. A time that is very, very different than it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. It's a spectacular time to get sober. And at the same time, not every message that is popular out there or that may seem like common practice is helpful. And I think this was a very, very, very powerful reminder from Dr. Sarah Wakeman about some of the things we can do to really support someone we love in making this big shift. We've heard about tough love, we've heard about rock bottom, we've heard about enabling, and hopefully this conversation puts those in context and reminds us that the folks who are stuck in this drinking cycle, in this maze, often are not feeling very good. And there's a lot of hope in their life that's missing or that's eclipsed. And anything you can do to keep that hope alive can make a tremendous difference to someone you care about.